Hi, everyone, to the Lunch and Learn today. We are recording this, so we are, for those of you that are watching it live, I'm explaining to those that are watching it as a recording because we will post this later, and we've got several people that have already told us they want to be here, but they're not alive, so they can't catch it at the time we're recording it. First thing I want to do is thank you for taking the time to work with us. We've got Laurie Moncrieff, and we've got Jeannie. How do you say your last name, Jeannie?
Jabour.
Jabour. And being from Texas, and then I feel like from South Carolina for 3 years, you sound like a glass of iced tea. So that's a good thing, you know. So appreciate having you here today. What I want to start with, and I know I'm all crooked here, George. I want to point out something as we continue each Lunch and Learn. We are going to try to make sure that our website is such that it's like a tool chest for you, for our tech coaches, our business advisors, as well as for our clients. And recently a conversation with someone coming in. Now, I'm not sure, Vicki, I'm not sure who that is, but that's bound to be someone that I've shared the link with because that's my link. It's just letting you know. Sorry, a little bit of housekeeping as more come in. But what we want to do is point out to you as clients and as tech coach or business advisors, every person that comes on board, there's someone who did a really good job working with the trying to create a template approach, if you will, to commercialization. And it is with that through the Goldsmith model. And I'm going to share that screen for just a moment. So do you see that for some reason my screen's not green? What do you see, guys?
We can see it.
Okay. I hate it when it does this every once in a while where it doesn't give me the green outline, so I'm not sure where I'm at. So what we're wanting to point out to you that as we go forward, this is more of trying to promote to you and encourage you to give us feedback. So think of this like your place for a bulletin board. So under kansassbdc.net/tech, what we're trying to do is provide a way to give you information ongoing to where you can use this as your tool chest or your tool drawer. I don't know about you, but there's nothing worse for me when I go out in my garage and I know where I think something should be, and I pull out the drawer, I open up the cabinet, and it's not there. That means I put it someplace else, which is very frustrating because then we're all trying to figure out where that is. So what we're trying to do as we go forward, and I'll have a meeting with Randy, the person that's in charge of this, right after this meeting today. Under our kansassbdc.net, so I'll go back there just to show you. All you got to remember is kansassbdc.net. We have our opening website. You can look down and you can see tech commercialization. When you get there on our landing page, we're going to try to make it very simple for you to go forward. One of the things each of us as a tech coach without a business, or you as an innovator with a business, one of the most often clicked should be tech commercialization. When you go there, you can read through this, but basically what it's going to do is take you to our Jack Harwell, who simplified the Goldsmith model in a way to work for us as SBDC folks. He gave us the ability to look at this through a separate track. So if you look at the yellow or amber, you have a technical track. Forget what it says. You see a blue market track, and then this, what color would you call that? Peach? Orange, business track. The idea is you, the innovator, and the business advisor working with the innovator, you should always be able to know where you're at under the investigation phase of looking at your business, the feasibility phase, the development phase or the introduction phase, and then on as the growth and maturity. So for most of you, you're someplace between investigation and probably development. What we want you to know is part of what you need to do in order to answer the questions, and when I say you, all of you, whether you're answering a question for yourself or for a client, you should be able to assess where you're at. When you do, then you're able to look at what you should be doing next. And the point we're going, and this won't take long, is just show you that our folks did a really good job in giving us, going back from our website, when you start from the beginning to show how simple this is, tech commercialization. Now we're on our tech page. Go to the tech commercialization steps. We've got the brief overview. You click on Goldsmith model. Under here, you read through these and you go, okay, I'm really at market analysis. I've done the tech, I'm down to engineering prototype, which is pretty typical. We got folks that they go down the tech page, the tech track pretty quick. But then they really haven't done anything in the market. They assume what it is. So if you go, I've really not finished this, then click on, and we're going to encourage Randy to make these into bullets where you realize you can click on them, but you can see my cursor changes. We have it to where you can click on market analysis, and then our good friends from Nebraska, the Nebraska SBDC, have taken each step and they've blown it up for you to where you can read through the information, the definition, what activities you should be working on, and then key questions you should be able to answer. Point being that every one of you as advisors as well as clients should be able to look at this in a way to assess where you're at as well as where you should be next. We have, and the reason I'm saying this is we have innovators that come to us, that come to the tech center whenever a business advisor hasn't looked at them or worked with them yet, and they've been sent to us. We can't do much with them until we've done this assessment, which is what anyone can do. You as the individual can do that, as well as the business advisor. When we do that, then we're able to whenever you move forward with us, then we're able to look at you and figure out which one of the programs that we're working on is best for you. What we being Vicki, myself, and Bill, and then Laurie Moncrieff and Rick Slater being the extension of what we're doing, what we don't want to do is what is the easiest answer is to tell you to go after all of it, okay? What we want to do is to be able to assess what's your best opportunity, because what's the great equalizer between Bill Gates and you? Anybody? I got it. He gets 24 hours in a day, just like you. You can only spend so much time doing stuff. So as a business advisor or as the tech team, one of the best things we can do is try to give you the best advice as to where to spend or invest that time. Okay, so we're trying to encourage you as you go forward and you're not sure what your next step is or where you're at, go back to our website and go through the tech commercialization and push yourself to answer the questions as to where you're at. That way, when we talk to you, when Laurie Moncrieff says, this is a good opportunity, where are you? You can actually tell them, you can tell her, this is where I'm at, to where as you go forward, we can actually best help you, okay? All right, with that in mind, today we've got Laurie Moncrieff with a PowerPoint with Agile Acquisition. Can you see? I think I'm gonna click on this and it's probably gonna move.
Make it a slideshow, Alan, and we're
exactly. Good. Yeah, I gotta move it. So give me just a second. All right, can you see the slideshow now?
Yep.
Okay,
and Alan,
good.
if you would introduce Jenny as well, because I'm so thrilled that Jenny joined us today.
So we've got, and I'm looking for her title. We got Jenny Jabour with us today, and I'm very excited because one of the things I challenged Laurie to try to do for us, besides giving you a broad overview of something, is to deep dive specifically an opportunity that we can use for each of us to understand and get your teeth in, to sink your teeth into it in a way to where you can understand this specific program, whether or not it fits you or not, to where you understand how the process works. And so with Jenny, we have that. Jenny, I'm not sure exactly, I don't have the title in front of me. You're the technology transfer officer, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
With the
good.
Office of Research Technology Transfer at the Corps of Engineers at the at the Engineer Research and Development Center in Vicksburg,
Very good. Well,
and for
I
those
am
small
very
businesses, can I just throw one thing in? A lot of folks are not that familiar with Army Corps because we haven't been introduced. Well, we've been trying to introduce Army Corps more. As a matter of fact, that at the last Encountering Innovation event, we highlighted Army Corps and had a guest speaker. But ERDIC is kind of like the research lab of Army Corps. So AFRL, Air Force Research Labs, is the research side of Air Force, like ONR, Office of Naval Research. ERDIC is that to Army Corps. So I just thought it's important for them to understand as a command who ERDIC is. And they're great folks to work with. The thing that I truly love about Army Corps is that only 30% of their funding comes from the government. They themselves operate much more commercial than other commands within the government because they have to earn a big portion of the dollars that fund them. And ERDIC itself has 4 locations. And Jenny, my brain tries to hold all the different file cabinets. Is it Indiana and New Hampshire and Virginia and Mississippi? Did I get it right?
Look, I'll tell you, Laurie, you got into my my little introduction. I was going to tell you a little bit more about. No, I'm just messing. But no, yeah, we have 7 labs, and but they are spread out, and 4 of which reside in Vicksburg, and then we have one at Searle, which is in Champaign, Illinois, and then we have our cold regions, which is in Hanover, New Hampshire. And then we have like this other little community of GRL, which is in Alexandria, Virginia, and then a place in Duck, North Carolina. So, but yeah, I can talk about the mission areas when we get to that part, but that's just a little bit about it, where we're located.
Gotcha. Thank you. All right, Alan. So I think we're ready to get started. And Alan, every time I say, Alan, I want to talk about Agile Acquisition, he's starting to roll his eyes and say, yeah, you talk about that all the time. But I got to tell you, one of the most important things that's gotta happen with the government, and I don't think anybody understands the extent of the impact that this is having. It's hard to get a contract from the government. It's painful. And so I take every opportunity, to educate small businesses on non-FAR based federal acquisition regulation contracts and different avenues to get a contract with the government. And it's constantly changing. The other thing is I spend a lot of time educating the government. I mean, I am working with some entities right now, and one of the big portions of my job is to educate. I'm working with Navy, I'm working with Space Force, I'm working with 5 different commands right now to educate them on all the Agile acquisition tools that are out there so that they can more easily connect non-traditional small businesses to the government. So this training is going on, and there's a huge need for it, both with businesses and still and yet with the government. And we want the government to stay on board to support these Agile acquisition tools. So I've just kind of been out there on the bully pulpit saying, hey guys, this is so important, because you've got to be able to allow these small businesses to bring you their technologies and supply the government. So apologies, Alan, if every time you say, hey, what do you want to talk about next? I'm like, more on Agile acquisition. It's because it's so important. So anyway.
Cool. All right, you
Okay,
ready?
proceed. Yep. So what is the definition of agile acquisition? It's basically a way to accelerate getting small businesses connected with the government. And there's a lot of different contracting vehicles. So we just keep promoting, we need to accelerate the ability of these small businesses to get that contract with the government. It benefits both the small business and the government. Next slide. So you know what? I'm going to, Alan, how do I do this? I want to get you guys smaller because you're like in the middle of my screen. Hang on, bear with me. I got it. Okay. So why educate? Again, I'll say it. It's important because it assists in, and Alan did a perfect introduction to say, small businesses only have so much time. So we don't want anybody to waste their time on activities that are just that. We want to make sure that we educate in a way so that small businesses can pinpoint what's my best avenue to get that contract. So Agile acquisition tools, there's several, and there's more than this, but the ones that I have dealt with the most that I think are growing in their popularity is the OTA, or other transaction authorities, PIAs, or partnership intermediary agreements, and CSOs, which is probably the newest of these, which is commercial services offerings. And I'm only going to speak to OTAs today. As I counsel with small businesses, I'd be happy to educate on the other ones. But for today's purposes, we're going to speak specifically to OTAs. So this is kind of the history, the legislation. There's some folks that like digging into the weeds, but my point in this discussion is that, believe it or not, this Agile acquisition tool goes all the way back to 1926, if you can believe it. I was kind of surprised, was not aware of that, but they've done a lot of changes, and really we've seen the most growth that's happened between 2013 and today. Again, it's been around for that long, but over time it's been picking up steam. And we've had some great folks in the Pentagon over the last few years that have been highly supportive of this. And so we've seen a lot of popularity with OTAs, and I just love seeing that they're continuing to foster that. Next slide. So there's a lot of different PIAs, and I don't want to get into the weeds too much, except to say that there are PIA, or excuse me, you know what? I read that wrong. They often use OTAs as a follow-on to the PIA. There has been some exploration. I've been in discussions with commands to see whether we could put a PIA under an OTA. And actually, the government did a ruling and said, no, we don't see OTAs or a PIA fitting under an OTA, but we're okay with the concept of putting a PIA under an OTA. It's reverse. So they would not accept it to say you can have a PIA under an OTA, but it can't be reverse. And it's like all legislation and all new Agile acquisition and different unique tools. It's kind of like it's got to sort its way through, because when that legislation starts, the rules kind of aren't all in place. So over time, the rules start being developed, and it changes constantly, which is when we see legislative changes. Some folks use OTAs for prototypes, some use for production, some use them for research. But the bottom line is they use it to promote working with non-traditional customers, and it allows you to accelerate contracts. Next slide. Yeah. So different structures. Some are government managed. I'll tell you that there aren't a lot that are government managed, but there are a couple out there. One specifically is Cornerstone. It's under OSD and it's managed by the Army, but that's a really unique contract. The vast majority are privately managed, and it can be managed by any entity that is authorized to hold a contract. Although I'll tell you that it's mostly nonprofits that manage OTAs, but it does not have to be. Most require, actually, I think all require joining a consortium. Some have fees, but some don't. But I will tell you that the vast majority do have fees. And they're typically command and very topic focused. Next slide. So why are they used? Empowers the DoD to structure business arrangements that meet their needs and meet their needs quickly, provides access to innovation, removes barriers, and gives a streamlined contracting mechanism to accelerate tech transfer and transition. The other important point, if you read the OTA language, is they want to encourage both spin in and spin out, which means they want to use that tool to transition technologies to private sector to sell back for the government, and also do transfer of technologies in the government. And then a big thing that it emphasizes is the dual use. And that's to say that if we can structure it in a way where it encourages customers to also have commercial customers as well as government customers, they see that as a very, very good thing and want to use that tool to do that. So existing OTAs, my point in showing you this slide, and I'm not going to go through all of these, but they're structured very, very different, and I'm from each other, and I'm going to point out some of those differences. So the first one on this page is the Cornerstone OTA. That's managed by OSD and actually IBAS, Industrial Base Analysis Sustainment. Army manages this contract, and it's free. So I would encourage small businesses to go on and sign up for that OTA big time. It has a scope of work, as they say in the government, that you can drive a truck through. And what I mean by that is there probably isn't a topic or a type of technology that does not fit within the Cornerstone OTA. So that's one OTA specifically. I would say if I were a small business, I would tell you, go in and sign up for that because it's free. It'll let you know what's going on. And it's at the OSD level, which is a great thing because when you sell at the OSD level, they then can take you into all the commands. They can introduce you to Navy, Army, whatever, but it's a good way to enter into the government. There's some brand new OTAs, so brand new that when they launched it, I actually had a conversation in the last couple of days. An example is the Defense Electronics Consortium. That's brand new. And it's actually, you can't go in and sign up for the OTA. You go in and you sign up for their association, and then you can get on board with their OTA. So they all do it slightly different. It's a nonprofit that's managing that. So it goes on. There's various and different ones. You can go ahead to page 2. Alan, and I'll just show there's some other ones. And on this particular slide, I want to point out, and why we have her here today, is the ERDIC OTA. One other thing I wanted to say, the Space Enterprise Consortium, that too is another brand new OTA. It's so brand new that they're really not doing any activities yet. So you can go in, you can check it out. But for right now, I would kind of sit tight in signing up or exploring the Space Enterprise Consortium because it's brand new. And before I hand it over to Jenny, I also want to point out one of the things I'm doing, there's probably 20 different OTAs. I'm going to put together a quick reference sheet for all the OTAs. I didn't want to present all of them today because I would have been going on forever reading all these OTAs, but I'll get you a sheet. I want to do a spreadsheet where I kind of give all the details as a quick reference on this OTA. And I would encourage folks to go in, small businesses, look at that sheet and see by topics which of those are a fit for them. And then you can see whether it's expensive, whether it fits within your budget, it doesn't. but I would totally encourage you to go in and sign up for the ones that are free and or lower cost, especially the overarching OSD OTA. So with that, Jenny, if we could go to the next slide. Alan, and I think it's Jenny's slide next. Oh, yep. So
go up one. There we go.
So I'll hand it over to you, Jenny.
Okay, thank you. So yes, thanks for the invitation. I always look forward to talking about OTs because we are really driving the initiative at URTIC. Dr. Pittman that was one reason why I'm even at the ORT now. I will mention that prior to coming to the ORT in 2019 as a tech transfer officer, I was a contracting officer at the URTIC contracting office for about 13 years. So got a lot of FAR-based and now working on the non-FAR-based acquisition portion. So a little bit about our vision was at URTIC was for our initiative is to ensure that we have these strategic decisions that are being made to leverage small businesses and connect everyone and coming to the table with all these great ideas. So at URTIC, we actually conduct R&D in 5 major groups in areas. It's military engineering, environmental quality and installation, civil works and water resources, geospatial research and engineering, and then we have engineered resilient systems. So if you look at this slide, it kind of talks about what the tools we use at URTIC, or what are our current solicitation mechanisms. So currently right now we have 2 consortiums that were set up. One is actually hosted through our GSL laboratory, and it is for SOSEC, and it's for military engineering. The military engineering topic has about 14 focus areas under it. So you would go through GSL if you had any white papers or anything that you wanted to, I guess, first of all, you would have to join it. It is a consortium that has to be joined. It's like a $500 fee. But then we also have the CMG, which is for seed, and they have about 14 to 18 categories or focus areas under them as well. Those have to be specifically submitted to those particular organizations, and there is a joining fee for those. Okay, so consortiums are nice, okay? They're good to have a good, relationship with other industries or non-traditional contractors, or however much way you want to talk about them. But we also, Laurie mentioned the partnership intermediary agreement. So we at URTIC began a partnership intermediary agreement I think it was in 2017 with the Defense Works or the Doolittle Institution, and now the hub is called URTIC Works. So what we did was leverage URTIC Works and what they were bringing to the table. We had decided that at URTIC, because it was so hard or it's not really so hard, but it was harder to get through our special competition advocate for the consortium route. We wanted to open it up and get away from consortiums. We wanted to try something different. So we took this PIA platform and leveraged it to come up with ways that we could announce our authority. So let me go back to that. So there are several types of authorities for OTs, and URTIC has the authority to use 10 USC 2371B, which is the authority for prototypes. There are 3 conditions for that use and for that authority use, which is purpose, the prototype, and the participation. So the purpose would be, is it relevant to enhance mission effectiveness or to improve in a military-based aspect? And then also on the prototype, it can be generally described as a physical or virtual, but not always. It can be a conceptual in nature. It's kind of a broad definition, and I can supply that later, however you would like me to do that. But anyway, and then there's a participation part. So the good thing about OTs is we want to try to get those non-traditional defense contractors. We want to reach these folks, and we want to reach small businesses like yourselves or whatever, and try to gather us. And even if you are a traditional contractor or a defense contractor, partner with these small businesses, because small businesses probably have the majority of innovation. They have all these ideas that they put on a piece of paper or whatever. So anyhow, that's the authority we use at at URDIC. And there are several benefits for utilizing the OTAs and for the prototype. The foster the new relationships. They're faster, they're dual use projects. We leverage the commercial industry investment, and then also collaborate in innovative arrangements. And like I said, the rapid acquisition, the good thing about OT is it's a streamlined approach, and there's not a lot of regulations, or there are some statutory requirements, but there's nothing that's going to stopgap you from going to the next level because of the regulation involved in FAR-based contracts. These are non-FAR. Let me say that again. They are non-FAR. So your flexibility is one of the major attributes or opportunities for OTs. Okay. So anyway, moving on. So as I said, the benefit of URDIC was we found that it was not subject to FAR restrictions. They're highly flexible. And then it was a gateway to industry. That's what we wanted. We wanted to see and utilize how we can reach all academia and small businesses, non-traditional contractors. And the PIA does that for us. The PIA helps us. The PIA that we have in place, like I said, back to that, we utilize their platform to solicit our broad announcements. Okay, so we call those broad other transaction authority announcements. Okay, so let me say what it is for. A BOTA is a competitive solicitation process in which the government identifies broad topic areas for investment. So like I said, we were trying to get away from that military engineering consortium with SOSEC. Not that we weren't having success with it, we had a ton of it, but we were reaching a certain capacity. So we had to find a tool to utilize or come up with an innovative way to continue that military engineering R&D and getting those prototypes in place. So here comes the PIA. We're like, okay, URDIC works. What can we do? So in the the military engineering focus area is mainly out of the GSL laboratory. And I could tell you the acronym probably at a later date. But anyhow, they actually sponsor it. And we sat down with them and we said, okay, let's figure out a way to get what you need for military engineering outside the consortium. So we came up with an announcement. It's like a BAA. I don't know if you guys are familiar with broad agency announcements, but it's another way outside of the FAR to announce your competitive acquisition. So anyhow, the BOTAs, we have one for me and we have one for ERS. If you can flip back, or well, actually, this is fine. This is fine right here. This is an example of what is out there on the URDIC Works platform. Our engineered resilient systems, ERS. I'm so used to speaking an acronym, I don't know the whole full blown thing. Anyhow, that is our newest BOTA that we have advertised. These two BOTAs that are out there are open all year long. Currently, the topics that are listed here are what's available. And what we encourage is small businesses go to the URTIC work site and register in the ecosystem. It is not to join, or join the ecosystem, but it's not a fee related to it. And basically what that does is it gives you an opportunity, or it gives you the advantage of getting the announcement maybe sooner than somebody else. So you put in what your capabilities are as a small business, and they ping you every time something that might come through that would be of interest, and you can have that opportunity. So it's kind of like a collaborative working group that we've just really, we've had a lot of success with it. I'm so passionate about it. I could talk circles around it. So anyway, but I will say there's 2 of them listed on the URTIC work site, and I can supply that to Alan or Laurie later and give you the website address. We did, like I said, they created this prototype platform for us to compete these things. And sometimes we will have specific areas that we need solutions for. And so we encourage businesses, small businesses, anyone to be on the lookout so that you can utilize that technology, this platform to help yourself get into work with the government. I will say, I do want to say this, URTIC Works is a facilitator. They don't do the evaluation process or anything like that. They work hand in hand with the government. That's part of the PIA. They are a third-party broker. So anyhow, we do work closely with them, but we have our PIs, our principal investigators, and our advocates in the lab with help with, once the white papers are submitted, they evaluate them that way. And then therefore, after that process has gone through, then you would be notified whether it's accepted, not accepted, and maybe not funded. And if that was the case, then it would be, we would ask for permission to hold it in a library. Because when the government does get money, Lord knows when it does, and if we have this opportunity to utilize it for something that's already out there that you've come up with, then we want to fund it, and we want to go forth and do good things with that. Because our business, URTIC's in the business of helping the warfighter and those out there in harm's way. So anyway, I think that's about all my spiel. I could probably go on and on and on, but I know you guys do not want me to do that.
No, we really appreciate you coming on, because again, as most people in small business know, getting contracts is always a challenge. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it when contracting officers start getting excited about Agile Acquisition. That is a good day. And the government is really lacking in, number one, contracting officers that are warranted and have the ability to award and work on these kind of contracts. So Jenny is unique. I will tell you that. There's a shortage of warranted contracting officers, and Jenny is really unique to be excited about these Agile Acquisition contracts, because it's a process to get contracting to accept the fact that, you need to put an Agile Acquisition contract in place. And again, the reason for that is not that these people are trying to make your life hard or anything, but Jenny, previous to now, was used to federal acquisition regulated contracts. So all of her background history, her comfort zone was in FAR contracts. So we want to get more Jennys, more warranted officers, because I just think that's what we need to do to accelerate success, both on the government side and to help the small businesses. I mean, that's what it's about. There's so much value
exactly
in
right.
businesses, but they struggle to get their great things out there. So
And
anyway.
I'm sorry. I do want to say one thing. I know that other transactions can be like mind-boggling because it's so large. And like we said, there's 3 different types to do it. But there are resources out there. If you need to contact me, please do. I will be happy to help. Like Laurie was saying, because these tools have been out there for so long, but no one has utilized them or known about them. I mean, ERDIC just got on board with this. So we're excited about it. And even our contracting office is excited about it. Our contracting chief, Tim Black, and I have spoke on many occasions. He loves the ERDIC work platform. So he's on board. So he's kind of Laurie, he's like an agile guy too. So I think that's a good thing. So yeah, anytime you guys want to reach out to me, I'll share my information and please do. And we can go over some of the topics that we do have at ERDIC, or I can maybe hopefully lead you in the right direction. Okay.
And it may be easier, Jenny, if you tell them to reach out to me, because we don't want all our small businesses.
Well, that's true.
You. I'd be happy to connect with you and Lynn. Lynn is the guy that helped get the PIA in place with me at ERDIC.
Yes, most definitely. And so again, I encourage you guys to go out to ERDIC Works and join the ecosystem, because they will definitely, I mean, and it's, like I said, it's not a joining fee. It's strictly there to keep you notified. We have tech transfer challenges out there that you maybe could even join in on or whatever. So there, that environment is not strictly for OTs. It is for tech challenges. They have several different things out there. So I want to be sure we share that with them, Laurie.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So, do PIAs or OTAs work? Absolutely. And I had to deduce what the number is, but I could only find publication on 9.6 billion awarded over 5 years, but it was a combination between SBIRs and OTAs. And I know that SBIRs are approximately $1 billion a year for DoD. So I can only deduce that the government's probably awarded $4 billion in awards under OTAs over the last 5 years. They typically have a ceiling of 100 million. However, the U.S. Space Force new OTA has a $12 billion ceiling over 10 years. So they're starting to increase those. And I have an example of a company that I know and I'm working with. They received an award of 1.2 million under an OTA to develop an externally powered lightweight weapon system. And they have now completed the work that they were awarded under that OTA. And the command loves what they've done. And so they are working together now. And that customer has put efforts in place to get them an additional 5 million to continue that project. So just know that those awards really are happening. And that's a real live example of a small business that is been successful under OTAs. So I think that's a good example. Next slide. So contracting, finding the right contracting mechanism. I'm telling you, as a small business, I had a program that was really successful and I was all excited and I'm ready to get going to launch a product. And I had somebody in the Pentagon look at me and say, so what's your contracting mechanism? And my jaw dropped and I'm like, what? I thought like you were gonna, so you got to get smart on navigating the system, because a lot of times these folks want to make you award. You can help be a part of the solution by being educated and knowing what's out there, and sign up for these opportunities, such as going to the ERDIC Works website, such as signing up for that Cornerstone OTA. I understand you guys have limited budgets. I was a small business. I had a limited budget. I get it. So just sort through, once I put that spreadsheet together, and look at the ones that make financial sense for you, and sign up for them. And I am totally available through the Kansas SBDC, through the Oklahoma SBDC, to help the businesses. And I would encourage any of you that have questions on any of these OTs or PIAs or Agile Acquisition contracts, I'll do the best I can to answer that question. And I talk to, unfortunately, poor Linzano, who works with Jenny. I talk to him probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a week. So we've got access to these folks, and they're more than happy to answer questions and make it easy for you. So I'd encourage you to get us those questions. Next slide. So questions for myself or Jenny or anybody, Alan? Did we do a good job or a bad job? Answered everybody's question.
I think we did a good job then, right?
Good answer.
You guys did really great. I didn't really have very many questions except on OTAs. Are there like caps, for what you're able to do and award, or what types of things you're looking for? I mean,
I don't know the answer for Erdic, and maybe we let Jenny answer, but they're all different. But typically what you'll see is, hey, we have an opportunity out there, give us a solution. And I can't speak to Jenny's because it's pretty new, what they're doing, but usually the application process and the white paper are pretty small. So you're not talking a 25-page in depth like a normal BAA. That's the great thing about these. But they'll usually tell you what budget they have for it, or they may leave it open-ended and say, hey, you have a solution. What would it cost for you to do that? You tell us. And then they can work within that budget. Jenny, can you tell us, do you have a ceiling?
We do not have a cap. We do not have a cap on our OTs for our BOTAs, especially. Now, the consortiums that we have in place, there are capacities on those. SOSEC, I believe we've gotten very close to it. So it's the end of life almost, hence why we have the other. But no, if you issue if you submit a white paper, and I think they're about 3 pages is all they're asking for. And then once they evaluate to see if that fits the focus area or the evaluation of what they're looking for a solution in that area, then they'll reach out to you and let you know if they need anything else. And I think we asked for like just a rough order of magnitude for like what your solution is. So it's not real, it doesn't have to be like so detailed that it's going to cost you a ton of money to get together. So yeah, there's no capacity. You tell us how much it's going to cost, and we'll tell you if we have the money to do it, right?
So a follow up then, Jenny, one of the things that our tech program tries to do with our Department of Defense Tech Scouts is we try to do the job of understanding how they want information in order to do a better job of helping our clients place that information in the way to where then there's a good judgment of the actual technology instead of letting clutter and clouding, fogging get in the way. So I'm going to challenge you. The question I've got then is, will you be willing to work with Bill, William Carey? For me, he's right next to you. Say hi, Bill. I would like to be able to get us to do what we do best with our tech scouts, to do it with you, to where we can do a better job of understanding exactly how you want that 3-page white paper, to where then what we could do is we'll be glad to get with our clients that go, I want to engage in a way that we can, then Bill can spend a few minutes reading through and editing or giving advice, to where by the time they submit it to you, then we've got a better paper.
So I didn't mention this, but I needed to, and I should have, I apologize. When you go out to their website, Arctic Works website, and you go under prototype platform.
Can we go there while you're talking?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
If you would like to.
Sure, let's see if we can do that then.
But I'll say that the announcements are out there, like each one for the ERS and for the ME. And then there's also frequently asked questions that have been posted. under each specific focus area. So, and then let's see, the guide, the OT guide, which is very lengthy, but the BOTA will tell you how to submit your white paper and what the parameters are.
Give me just a second.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah, you're fine.
Screen. Okay, am I where I need to be?
Yes, sir, you are. Let me see. I need to close it. Okay. If you go to prototype opportunities right up there to the right. Yes, sir. And then this kind of goes through what the resources are over here to the right, like your OT guide, the facts, the definitions of some of the stuff, or some of OT definitions. So that's mainly broad, right? If you go down the page a little bit, this will be the entry to the military engineering. If you look over here to the left, in the middle, we have the ERS BOTA. And then to the right, we don't have anything for specific projects just yet. But if you go into either one of these or either one of those, military engineering or ERS, if you flip into one of those.
Which, okay.
It doesn't matter because I think they're
that
both kind of the same.
Has the one that I talked about. The one you clicked about is the one I did the slide on, Alan.
Okay.
It's the current open opportunity. And actually, one of your clients, I've got him signed up and I've already introduced him to ERDIC.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so if you look, go down the page a piece, I'm sorry. So these are the different focus areas in the boxes, right? And if you click on it, it tells you a little bit of description about what those areas are, okay? And then if you go down the page a little bit farther, this is how the process works, utilizing our PIA. And then down at the bottom here, how to participate. So if you go to review the complete BOTA, that's the actual announcement.
Which
and
one?
It tells number one. If you go into number one,
right here,
highlight. Yes, sir. There. And then this gives you our announcement. And it gives you the parameter, what the focus areas are. If you see on that page 3, if you go down,
right here.
Yeah, those are your focus areas. And then if you continue down the page, how it works, the process. And if you continue down the page, these are the definitions. Continue, trying to get past that. Okay, so this is the general information. This is what we can award, okay? The prototype OTAs, this is the type that we can award, and it just gives you specific general information about it. Okay, and if you go down the page some more, I think it's several pages long. Yeah, here we go. General formatting requirements, and then I believe content is down at the white paper. And then there's somewhere technical requirements is what is involved, and then how the evaluations are worked. And I'm sorry if I'm like all up in my camera here because I'm looking, I should have put my glasses on. And can we go farther down the page? Okay, content, your statement of work requirements. So this has everything pretty much in what all the parameters are for submitting a white paper.
So
once you submit a white, and then here you go, here's your areas of interest, and it kind of tells you what they're looking for, what you can bring to the table for protective structures and systems, protection and survivability. You know, these are the components of that. It's broad. It does not get specific. You tell us a solution that you have for geophysical sensors and data fusion. And we're going to tell you whether, oh my gosh, that fits what we're trying to do over here. And hey, let's see if we have some funding for it. And again, like I said before, if the government does not, or if ERDIC does not have the money for it right away, but we do like the proposal, then we may accept it and say, hey, can we put this in our library and come back to you when we can find the funding for it? Because like Laurie mentioned, we are R&D, we are reimbursable, cost reimbursable organization. Most of the, probably 80% of our work is reimbursable. So we have to go find our money.
And you know, the beauty of that, so that everybody knows, and again, I don't mean to sound like I'm the biggest ERDIC champion out there, but I like the way they operate for this reason, and why I love working with ERDIC. ERDIC works with most of the other commands, AFRL, GVSC, you know, NIWIC, all those folks are partners with ERDIC, because ERDIC supports the government. ERDIC goes out and finds the commands to work with.
That's right.
Just like you do. So know that they operate a lot more, they operate differently than most commands. Air Force,
we always say we're unique.
yes, you are. You know, Air Force cares about just the Air Force things, and Navy cares about Navy. Army Corps is out there working with most of the commands.
Most of DOD we work with,
right?
If not all.
I mean, there's things that ERDIC does that, and I'm going to say this wrong. If Lynn were here, he'd probably correct me. But they manage the supercomputing systems for OSD. Mm-hmm. Which I know you would never guess that, right? Everybody thinks the Army Corps is dams and bridges and whatever. No, ERDIC does lots and lots of things that I don't think people realize that they are involved in.
So I want to ring Bill's bell on this. Bill, I want to hear you chime in. Bill has won more SBIR and STTR contracts, as well as other things, which is why he's part of the team doing this, because he's got such a great experience. Bill, what do you see? Is this confusing to you, or does this look good? And if we could find a few clients, would this be something we could help with?
Well, I think it can be helpful, and we should definitely be working and understanding it better, so that a lot of small businesses, as we've alluded to, they just don't have time to get up to speed on everything. And quite frankly, I mean, I don't either, but SBDC has given me some time to be able to get up to speed on a few things. And so I can watch out for the kinds of things that I think fit into your programs as I understand them better. And actually point people to you, kind of like what Laurie's doing. She's actually saying, I know a program where your technology fits.
So what do we need to do which is the most magical sheet? Is this it? Or going up above where they talk about the, where are we?
Alan, this might help. To counsel small businesses, I would say go sign up and join the PIA ecosystem with ERDIC. Mm-hmm. So that if ERDIC has an opportunity for a BOTA, they are going to send it to you. So you'll get an email, you look at it, if you're a small business, is this a fit for me? Or if it's not a fit for me? If it's not, you discard it. If it is, go into the system and look at, the details.
Okay.
I'll state that, with the PIA, because of the great team that we have with them, I mean, like I said, they're our broker. They sit out there and look, they monitor this stuff. And if your small businesses do join the ecosystem, if they have questions, they can reach out to the partnership and they can talk to some of the team members there and see if they can get answers from them. And if they can't, the PIA is going to come back to me or Lynn or whoever and say, hey, we've got this going on, and we want to answer this question for this small business. Can you help us out? And we'll be happy to do so.
So when they join, when they sign up, are they having to submit their paper at that point, the white paper?
No, no, sir, not necessarily at all.
Okay.
You can join and not even submit a white paper. But I think what I want to encourage the most is to join, so you do have some visibility of what is out there and what we are promoting for solicitation or tech challenges. I mean, it may not even be off an OTA or a BOTA. It may be a tech challenge that, you know, somebody may have some type of an industry partner may have some type of demonstration that they can bring to the table. So,
Okay, so
that's a whole other different subject, I think.
So if we had 150 or 200 clients with a variety of technology innovation categories, what would you say would be the best way for us to, for you, if this was your client base, what would be the best way for efficiency of discovering whether or not those 200 or so should join or should review whether or not they should join? I don't want to create busy work for you or your organization any more than us. What's the best? Is the first step getting everyone to sign up, or for them to review whether or not they should sign up?
No, I think they should just sign up, because this is the thing with the PIA and why I'm so excited about it, because, you know, like I said and mentioned earlier, the Corps has ERDIC has 5 major focus missions, okay? 2 of those missions are in this BOTA. We are advertising 2 of those missions, which is ERS and military engineering, which is 2 of our biggest. So I would just recommend that, you know, I don't know, it can be so broad. And then there are specifics that can come out for, I don't know, blast study or whatever. So I just want everyone to be, because any small business is going to benefit for having this knowledge, right? They're gonna benefit because they know that opportunity is there. And if they can't benefit from them themselves, then they're gonna contact, hey, Joe, guess what just got announced out here? I want to tell you about it because you may benefit from it. So it's building our ecosystem, building the opportunity for small businesses. And I as a acquisition person, that's so important for industry to understand, and academia as well. So, you know, what I would do is I would point them to the ERDIC Works website. On the main page, there is join the ecosystem, I believe, and they can click in there. And I believe they can, if you want to go in there, see, it says join our ecosystem right there to the top. Under, there you go. Mm-hmm. And then it just asks these things about your company, and then it actually, I believe, gives you an opportunity later on. I don't know if after you submit this, I think somebody contacts them, and they're like, okay, well, what other focus areas could we ping you on so that you'll be aware of? And I mean, we can get a conversation with ERDIC Works if we need to involve to help you. But you know, that would be my first step with your small businesses, your 150. I mean, our ecosystem has gone from nothing to like 8,000 people. I don't even know the number it is now. It's insane. And that's just our hub, I believe. I don't even think that's all.
Let me demystify this a little bit. It's a little confusing with ERDIC because they have an OTA under a PIA. The premise of this was to talk about the OTA, but I agree with Jenny. If I were a small business, I would sign up for the PIAs. Defense Works has 7. I think everybody knows that I was executive director, so I'm pretty intimately familiar with it because I established most of the PIAs. But it's no cost to you. It's no skin off your back to sign up for it. So I would go in and sign up for ERDIC and ERDIC Works, and I would most definitely do it because they now have this OTA contracting mechanism. And all that's going to do is give you a free resource that they'll reach out to you if there's a contracting opportunity. It's that simple. So I'm going to do a spreadsheet sheet that hopefully simplifies some of this more. Because I think.
Sorry, Laurie, I get off to talking.
No, you're all right. What I
Well,
want to do is do a
let me say-
spreadsheet with OTAs that demystify some of it so that they can easily see, yeah, I'm not going to waste my time doing that because it's $7,500 a year, but I'll do that because it's free
Right.
and it looks like it'll be a fit. That's what somebody's got to put together, and I'm in the process of doing it. But
Okay.
there's like 25 of these, and they're like cropping up left and right. So it's an ever-changing thing. So everybody's got to know nobody's pulling this all together, and that's what I'm trying to do here.
Well, and that's part of, I think the two things that we're trying to do from the SBDC and the tech program is we're trying to go to the customer, not the client, but the customer. So like DOD, but the problem is there's no such thing as DOD. You know, it's everything. It's a lot of individual things. It's Air Force, Army, and then inside there. So I think what we need is a clearinghouse, sort of like what Laurie Moncrieff is referring to. And then second of all, for our clients, I don't know if you feel like I do, but I'm going, there's so many acronyms. I'm not sure what you could use. You could be speaking French. And when you say PIA, OTA, BIA, BABA, do, and we're going, okay, so the BABA goes before the do. And I'm like, and we're glossing over. That's why I think a lot of our folks continue to, I don't know if you're eating while we're talking, because it's a lunch and learn. We were taught to not speak with our mouth full. So I guess you guys are covered while you're eating. So I get that. But the challenge really is getting a specific example. And I keep everyone that comes on, what I'm going to ask for from the presenter is a specific. What I'd love to see is if either one of our clients go, I'll be the guinea pig, but I'd love to be able to come back with a real example of someone that signed this up, and then what did they get back? And then from that, what did they include, to where, for Bill's sake, where we could go through and see an example of a real white paper and show them, to where we can, to use Laurie's word, to demystify this, to where our clients understand it. Our problem is, like I've told them about the sharks. Everybody's worried about the shark and the shark tank, and I said 90% of the time you'll never encounter the shark. You'll bleed to death from the leeches. Well, we can be leeches as well if all we do is present a lot of time instruments of things to do. If we can help them understand what that looks like, to where they know, okay, if I sign up, I'm going to do these 3 things or these 2 things, and then assess. So I think this goes back to, now that we got a clue, I think it's what do I need to look at in order to assess if ERDIC Works is right for me, or if it's another program. And then from that, what am I engaging? If I do this, I'm going to sign up for these 3 things, and then I'm going to be looking for, or what do I do afterwards? If we can do that, then I think that we start to demystify what this is that we're asking our clients to sign up with.
Alan,
And I think
question.
oh, go ahead.
It's for Jenny. I know that the NAMC OTA has an incentive for companies to engage with non-traditional companies new to defense space. Does ERDIC have a similar feature?
I'm not familiar with the NAMC's
I can answer
incentive.
that. I can answer it if you want.
Go ahead, Laurie. Go ahead.
The legislation and the purpose of OTAs is for the government to interact with non-traditionals. So every OTA, that's kind of what the legislative authority tells them that they need to use that mechanism to do. So yes, ERDIC and PIAs, by the way, and OTAs and all these Agile acquisition contracts, in that legislation, there is a demand that they use that to reach to non-traditionals. Now, and not to make it more complicated, but primes can get contracts on OTAs, just so you know. But on OTAs, a large company actually has to pay, I think it's a third of the project cost. So the government, under OTA legislative authority, cannot 100% fund a project with a large company. The large company has to pay a portion. So they are very much making it a lot easier for the small businesses and trying to get small businesses, because there's no fee to the small business to do it. There is a fee to a large business. They have to pay a portion of the total of that project. Did I answer the question or make it more complicated? Small businesses don't have to understand all the legislation behind it. I just like to kind of say, I just kind of bring it up because there's a lot more to this. Jenny has spent a long time learning about contracting. It's a very complicated thing. And what the SBDCs, what we're trying to do with Kansas and Oklahoma and the program we're rolling out, is to make it easier for the small businesses to get to the right people and sort through not signing up for everything and understanding better and get the guidance to make it as easy as possible on them. That's what Alan and the team and Barbara Bonner and Jessica, that's what we've been doing with this, is trying to make it easier on these small businesses.
I think, Laurie, I think to that point, I think what this program does is it intrigues us as advisors, and it intrigues our client base, but then it's like trying to talk us into the first time using the internet. And I'll pick on the Kansas state government site. At one time, our state business site had everything on one page. And the problem with that was it was overwhelming, and you had to read the entire encyclopedia in order to figure out where you needed to go, instead of saying, okay, are you an individual? Are you a business? What kind of business are you? What do you need? And instead of simplifying the decision tree, it became overwhelming. Jim has said, I'll be a guinea pig. What I'd like to do as a follow-up, so from our tracks perspective on our lunch and learns, and we're in overtime by a great deal, and I appreciate everybody hanging on that is here. So go to your dessert now, if you haven't yet. What I'd like to do is, number one, clarify we're in our DoD track today, and then second of all, this is a funding opportunity or a contracting opportunity, which is our third track. So we're kind of on two tracks here today. What I'd like to do, without knowing where Rick and Laurie, Rick Slater, who's doing our primes track next week and working also in our sole sourcing along with Laurie, what I'd like to do is offer up taking Jim, who's agreed to be the guinea pig, is take someone and go through this process, enter into it, and then use them as the guinea pig to where we can use their specific information that's available to be shown as a storyline. Okay, here's what he did, here's what he got back, here's what he did next, to where we can then use this for our clients to understand. Here's what we looked at, here's what we reviewed, here's what I entered. And if we can do that, I think then this becomes much more realistic, much more demystified.
Alan, maybe you could have Jim contact me and I could counsel Jim and you and whoever can listen. For those of you who don't know, I am working in a capacity with both Kansas and Oklahoma to provide training, and I'm working specifically one-on-one with these technology companies. And for your information, Alan, Hal, who I'm working with, I've already got him signed up for this. So this got published. This got published, and I said, hey, Hal, this is a fit for you. Here's what you need to do. And we just had the discussion last week. And I sent his information directly to Lynn, who works with Jenny, and said, hey, this guy's equipment is great. And I think it fits with this. And by the way, now we're looking at Hal doing a presentation at a ERDIC Works conference coming up. So,
Well, then, so he's
so
not
we're
on
already in the
today.
process.
Good. And I know how. So what I'd like to do, and Vicky, is let's, Jim, what we'll do is, as much as we can, let's work with you and all the others that want this. But since Hal's already in the program, what I'd like to do is you and I, let's reach out to Hal and see how much he'll be able to share with us. What I'd like to do is a story tree or a storyline of what he went through and what he's doing to where our clients understand it. If we can do that, then I think we go to the next level for our client base to understand this, where they can step forward. That way we can then, with Bill, hopefully we can try to look at our clients and go, Bill can review and go, okay, it looks like these are the 20 suspects. And so we tell those 20, or we encourage those 20 clients to step forward, and here's what it looks like. Here's what you're getting into. And then we can go off and then we can try to deep dive the next program in the same fashion.
If I could make a suggestion, Alan, I'd be happy to set up a Zoom call with any of you, the clients that are on this call that want to sign up with ERDIC. I'd be happy to get on the phone, walk them through it. It's no cost. They're just going to get emailed if there's an opportunity, and I would encourage everybody to do it. And then as a follow-on, I'm working with Hal, and I'll be happy to write up that story and see how it unfolds as a success story. Let's do
Very
that.
good.
Yeah,
So
Laurie,
let me know. We can set up a Zoom call. Any small businesses that want to go through the steps, I'm happy to get on the phone and they can ask questions and whatever else, and we'll walk through it. And then they'll start getting pinged the opportunities. And then in the meantime, again, we'll start writing up Hal's experience.
hey, Laurie,
about that. Yeah.
I sent you my email in the chat box.
Okay.
I also signed up to your ecosystem on ERDIC Works while we've been on the call. So I'm signed up on the ecosystem there.
Perfect.
And Alan, I am presenting at the Tech Warrior Ops here, I guess, next week. I've got like 5 presentation times throughout the week. So yeah,
We love John Matecki and Tech Warrior. They're wonderful.
Yeah, I like those guys. They're pretty cool. So I'm presenting to them, see if I can get some more Air Force interest. We've got 2 prototypes, and we've already done a shooting demo with Warren Air Force Base with our shotguns. And we've got the light machine gun that they asked for ready to demo as well. So we'll be showing videos of those. And by the way, our shotguns have now passed the London Proof House on their way to the British MOD. So they're starting.
Jim, I'd love to talk to you offline
Yeah.
about that, because
Yeah.
I had an interesting meeting yesterday. I am actually not just on the beach, but I sit outside of Eglin Air Force Base, which is kind of the weapon system hub of the world, if you will. And so I'll email you, and I can look at some ways that I might be able to help, because I had an interesting meeting yesterday, and when you say guns, my ears perk up. So you're on the beach too.
I'll join you for a Mai Tai here in a few minutes. So, but
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I appreciate, I want to say, Jenny, for you, Jeannie, am I saying that right? Instead of Jenny?
Jenny.
Okay. For you and for Laurie, we want to continue to, and I'll camp out on her word, to demystify to where we can help our clients. I think for the most part, they become overwhelmed with, where do I start and what should I do? And so if we can continue to clarify and show examples of success as well as decision-making, then we can help our clients move forward. We've had several saying they'd like to see this. So I'm glad to hear folks talking about this. We will do our best to use Hal as an example, and then Jim as a follow-up, to where we can try to screen capture Jim, what I'd like to do is screen capture as much as we can, steps, anything that needs to be demystified, not covered as far as your particular specifics, that's fine. But where we can give this a specific and then we can do a Zoom follow-up, then what we'll do is we'll reach out to our client base and try to take as many that want to walk through that. What we need to do is figure out how to write that email invite in a way that we get the right folks in. But that's great. This has been good information. Hopefully it's clarifying more than not to where folks understand it, but I do believe a follow-up will be good.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, you know, when it comes to learning the Department of Defense, when you first start getting involved, all the acronyms and it's just very complicated. But over time, if you just listen and absorb what you can each time, you know, the goal of our program is to get all of your counselors knowing more and being more comfortable with it all and developing resources that they have questions. They don't need to know it all. They just need to know who to call to help get direction and make it easier. That's the goal.
I think from the client perspective, I think for all of us to say, to admit to myself, I don't know squat, not be afraid to ask for help and ask for the help. I mean, hello, yeah.
Well,
and I love helping small business. So, you know, I was a small business and I licensed a product and it took so much time and effort. It was kind of crazy because it was a product the government wanted, but it took me forever. And it's, you need help. And I had to get help. I actually ended up licensing with a private equity firm. That was just the way I decided to do it, but it's not easy. Being a small business is not easy. And my goal is to make it easier. We need more success. So.
Good. I got a quick, Vicki, do you have the poll
Yes,
covered? Okay. We're trying to make sure that we document what we do as well. I have, in times when Vicki hasn't been here, I've been running it, but I'm not sure I put it where it belonged. So just double checking that. So it's kind of a back office question. Any question?
Can I say one more thing? One thing we want to do is we want small businesses to tell us, are there other areas that you would be interested in us doing lunch and learn sessions on? We're going to plan, I'm hoping to get a 2-month schedule out there so that you guys see the ones that are pertinent to you and of interest, and we can get more and more small businesses joining in on the sessions that they want to learn about that particular thing. But if we could get feedback, as I work with small businesses and understand the challenges, we want to add those lunch and learn sessions, but you guys telling us what you need would be so valuable because we want this to be valuable to you.
Absolutely. I'll try to see if we can get early next week, we can get a survey out for that as well.
Well, Vicki's going to try to make that happen. I think we already had that discussion earlier. So I think we may have it covered with our Vicki. So we're good. I think. Yep. We'll get it done.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we're wrapped up. Any questions or comments? Anyone from the participants, the attendees? Our 785-221 number, can you identify yourself to us? Maybe. Just curious. We try to make sure we know who all's on. I didn't recognize that number.
Is it Michael Warren? I can't remember Michael's phone number.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think that he has a 785 number. Anyway, okay.
All right.
Well, folks, we appreciate your time today. Hopefully we continue to clarify as we move forward. This is exciting work. If we understand what program is what and which ones are most beneficial to you, part of our job is to turn these over to Bill, where he can then look at the categories to where he can say, yeah, this is a good good bet. No, this is not. So as we move forward, we'll lean on Bill and then Tom Byler, for him and the others like him, to where he can work with us with our client base. So we appreciate each one that's here today. Thank you so much. Hopefully you make it a great weekend. It looks like it's going to be a nice weekend. Laurie's already looking like it out there.
And we got pouring rain here and it's cloudy and yeah, I'm a fake.
Well,
Bad weather.
Jim, I like the.
I appreciate y'all letting me speak today. I enjoyed it.
Well, we do appreciate you bringing the information to us. We will lean on you as we move forward so this is, we don't want you for a one-time engagement. We want the clarification and the further information going on because we want to really help our client base. So hopefully we'll have 1 or 2 clients to be able to talk about with you as well.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Erdic will not escape us. I'll make sure of that.
There you go. Cool.
Hey, we had snow here this morning, guys.
Oh,
Life at 7,300 feet in altitude, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
I'll be talking to you, Jim. It's probably going to be Monday, so you know.
That's perfect, Laurie, because our store's not open on Monday and we don't have employees here on Mondays. So Mondays is a really good time for me to do anything I want to do that I want to do uninterrupted.
I'll email you. We'll pick a time. How about that?
Perfect. That sounds
Okay.
good. Thanks,
Have
Laurie.
a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
So Kit, hopefully you can connect with the dots with some of the stuff I said to you yesterday. Bill is on, William, Carey, myself, Vicky, and then the others. So hopefully some of the dots connected today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the invite. And I'll be trying to connect with Laurie. I think you're in Oklahoma. Is that right? Oklahoma SBR or?
I'm working with both Oklahoma and Kansas.
I'm in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Oklahoman with a Kansas company.